Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're taking a fascinating journey, connecting something as everyday as a bitter, snowy commute all the way down to the invisible, microscopic mechanics of thermodynamics. We're exploring a fundamental principle called Raoult's law. Discovered by French chemist François-Marie Raoult back in the 1880s, this is the hidden science of melting ice, boiling over, and how adding just one simple ingredient to a liquid can completely rewrite its physical rules. And this isn't just an Earth thing. The math behind this law applies universally across the cosmos. It dictates the behavior of liquids on distant exoplanets just as rigidly as it does right in your kitchen. So, if you've ever wondered how the physical world actually works on a structural, chemical level, how energy and matter negotiate their boundaries, you're going to find this incredibly rewarding.
Section 1. The Icy Road Mystery. Why exactly do we salt roads in winter?
If you live anywhere that gets cold in the winter, you're definitely familiar with the sight of large plows and utility trucks rumbling down the highway, scattering huge amounts of coarse rock salt onto the freezing pavement. We see it all the time, and we just inherently accept that it works. But mechanically, it presents a really brilliant scientific puzzle. We all know the absolute baseline. Pure water freezes at 32 degrees Fahrenheit or 0 degrees Celsius. But the moment you introduce salt into that frozen matrix, the ice suddenly begins to melt, even when the ambient air temperature remains well below that standard freezing threshold. The ice essentially acts as if the thermal environment has warmed up, even when it objectively hasn't. But here's the real kicker, the paradox that makes this physical behavior so profoundly interesting. The exact same underlying chemical mechanism that magically lowers freezing points to melt that winter ice is the very same mechanism that actively raises boiling points when a liquid gets hot. So how can one single action, just adding a dissolved substance to a liquid, push both thermal boundaries outward in opposite directions? Let's find out.
Section 2. Defining Raoult's law, the rule behind the phenomenon.
So, Raoult's law formally states that the vapor pressure of a solvent above a solution is directly proportional to the mole fraction of the solvent present, effectively reduced by dissolved solute particles. Now, to really appreciate the elegance of this, we need to look closely at two specific concepts here: mole fraction and vapor pressure. When you introduce a solute, like sodium chloride, into a solvent, like water, you are altering the mole fraction. Mole fraction is simply a statistical ratio. It represents the probability of finding a solvent molecule versus a solute molecule in any given cross-section of the mixture. Vapor pressure, on the other hand, is the mechanical force exerted by the liquid's molecules as their kinetic energy propels them to escape the liquid phase and enter the gas phase. Raoult's law provides a perfect mathematical correlation for us. As you increase the amount of dissolved particles, you alter that mole fraction, and you directly and proportionally suppress the vapor pressure of the solvent.
Section 3. The Molecular Traffic Jam. Zooming in on the liquid's surface.
To really grasp why that vapor pressure drops, we have to transition our perspective down to the microscopic level and look at the thermodynamics at play. Evaporation is a surface phenomenon. In a beaker of pure water, the entire surface area is exclusively occupied by highly energetic water molecules, all vibrating and constantly overcoming their intermolecular bonds to escape into the air as a gas. But when we introduce our solute, those foreign particles integrate thoroughly into the solution, including right at that critical surface boundary. Statistically, a portion of the surface area is now physically occupied by the solute. Because those positions are blocked, fewer solvent molecules have the spatial opportunity to escape into the vapor phase at any given microsecond. It's basically a molecular traffic jam. This physical blocking literally traps kinetic energy within the liquid. The outward push of the liquid trying to become a gas, its vapor pressure is demonstrably weakened. And this leads to the thermodynamic shift that answers our earlier paradox. You see, boiling occurs specifically when a liquid's internal vapor pressure equals the external atmospheric pressure pushing down on it. Because our dissolved solute has weakened the vapor pressure, you now have to pump significantly more thermal energy, more heat, into the system to force that vapor pressure back up to match the atmosphere. Hence, the boiling point rises. Conversely, when the temperature drops, those same intrusive solute particles physically interfere with the solvent molecule's ability to align into a rigid geometric crystal lattice. You have to remove far more ambient heat, getting the solution much colder, to force the mixture to finally lock into solid ice. So this molecular traffic jam pushes the boundaries of phase changes in both directions. We can see this stark contrast when we compare pure water directly against a concentrated saltwater solution. On one side, you have pure water, operating flawlessly at its standard atmospheric thresholds, 0 degrees Celsius for freezing, 100 degrees Celsius for boiling. But on the other side, by dissolving a heavy concentration of salt into the water, we shift those goalposts dramatically.
A fully saturated sodium chloride solution won't freeze until the temperature plummets to roughly negative 21 degrees Celsius, or about negative 6 degrees Fahrenheit. And if you try to boil that same saturated solution, you're going to have to push the temperature up to around 108 degrees Celsius or 226 degrees Fahrenheit. The physical properties of the liquid have literally been completely rewritten, scaled proportionally to exactly how much solute is present.
Section 4. Real-world applications. Raoult's law in everyday life.
Taking this complex thermodynamic modeling out of the laboratory, we can see exactly how this law actively dictates the infrastructure of the modern world. Let's go back to our icy roads. The salt dissolves into the microscopic layer of liquid water on the pavement, lowering the freezing point and forcing the ice to melt. However, because of the strict math of Raoult's law, there is a hard chemical limit here. Once the temperature drops below that negative 21 degrees Celsius mark we just talked about, adding more sodium chloride does absolutely nothing. The solubility limit is reached and the road freezes anyway. This is exactly why municipalities in extreme climates have to switch to different chemical compounds like calcium chloride. These dissociate into more ions per molecule, further altering the mole fraction and dropping the freezing point even lower. Now consider the fluids running through a modern vehicle. The antifreeze coursing through a car's radiator is an absolute masterclass in exploiting this principle. Engineers use a compound like ethylene glycol mixed with water, which profoundly disrupts the hydrogen bonding of the water. Not only does this prevent the engine block from freezing and cracking in sub-zero winters, but under the pressurized environment of the cooling system, it pushes the boiling point well past 135 degrees Celsius or 275 degrees Fahrenheit. This totally prevents modern high-temperature combustion engines from boiling over during extreme summer operation. And on a massive planetary scale, this law explains the thermodynamics of our oceans. Because seawater is packed with dissolved salts and minerals, it freezes at roughly negative 2 degrees Celsius rather than 0. That seemingly minor 2 degree suppression, that's the thermal engine that dictates global ocean currents, drives thermohaline circulation, and fundamentally regulates the entire climate of planet Earth. Pretty amazing, right?
Section 5. What about gases? The next chemical mystery.
Throughout this explainer, we've really conquered the mechanics of how dissolved solid solutes fundamentally alter the physical behavior of liquid solvents. We know how we manipulate the mole fraction to push those freezing and boiling boundaries, but as with all science, mastering one domain immediately opens the door to another. If we know what solids do to liquids, what happens when we try to force a gas into a liquid? What determines exactly how much gas can dissolve into a liquid in the first place? Why does a sealed bottle of soda remain perfectly carbonated under pressure, but instantly begins to go flat the moment you open the cap? When we swap solid solutes for gaseous ones, the thermodynamic rules shift again, introducing an entirely new framework known as Henry's law. It's a brilliant mechanic governed by pressure, and honestly, it's the perfect scientific mystery for us to explore next time. So keep observing the incredible structural science happening all around you, and thank you so much for joining me for this explainer.